The Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Guess what, everybody? Married at First Sight.
Yes.
It's coming back.
I know.
All right.
It's back, everyone.
Monday, January 29, not long to wait, 7:30 on Channel 9, of course. But the relationship expert that we know and love is none other than John Aiken, who's right here in Studio 2 with us.
Good morning, team.
Now,
G'day, John.
I don't
It's that
know.
time again.
I don't know
Yes,
if I
it
can
is.
trust anything he's saying today because you're wearing black pants and a black t-shirt.
Well, I like to be mysterious early in the morning.
or a puppeteer.
Yes.
It could go
Well,
either
I can
way.
do both. I'm versatile.
Well, you're kind of a puppeteer, really, aren't you?
Well, I certainly have to wrangle a lot of personalities on the show, and
Yeah,
this
and
year is
mess
no
with them.
exception. What's that?
Mess with them.
Yeah, well, I think I get very, very direct this year with
Do you?
some, pretty lowbrow behaviour that happens. And
Finally starting to pull them into line, eh?
Yeah.
Can I say
There's something different.
That is refreshing for you started doing it sort of last year.
Yeah.
Because the frustrating thing for viewers is we see this just terrible behaviour.
Yeah, toxic.
And then you guys would never really address it. Now you're addressing it. It feels like there's a bit of justice as a viewer,
And
which
that
is what was sorely needed.
Yeah, and I think that has become a very key part of my role is to hold a mirror up and say that behaviour is not good enough, do better. For some of them, they've never really been spoken to in that way before.
And some of them can't do better.
That's a lot of
point now.
A lot of them.
Yeah, because you've got to be willing to grow and really willing to accept what you're being told. And I feel like, and I'm not going to sweep everyone with the same brush here, but arrogance is a common trait for a lot of these people going into MAFS.
Is that
how many
fair?
of
You
them-
know them. Is that fair?
Well, I think almost all of them
The men especially, sorry.
are bad at relationships and they don't know why.
Yeah, right.
And so what they're doing is just repeating these toxic patterns all the time. So you've got to really shine a light on it and hit them, between the eyes in a very short, sharp way so it jolts them. And sometimes it works, but a lot of time they just look at me as the old guy on the couch.
John, I agree with exactly what you're saying there, and that's going to come across clearly in the show. But these people don't care because they're just on it to get their OnlyFans up and running, mate, so they can show earn some money.
There's no doubt that there's a lot at stake now for them because after the show they go into OnlyFans or they do influencing or they get their own podcasts or try and get into radio. So there's a lot of stuff that they are thinking about as well as trying to find love.
But it's
So
not
they
as
don't
well
care.
as trying to
They
find
find
love.
love. They're not trying to
That's
find
the
love.
thing, John. They're not trying to find love. They're
It's
trying
the
to become
charades.
famous. And you know what's
Yeah.
a bonus? If they meet someone that they can get together and be the celebrity couple from MAFS, then some of them do generally fall in love.
They do.
Look, there
They
is
do.
examples.
And this year there is
But
definite love.
let's say that's 10% of the entire cast that's ever been on, maybe even 5%.
Yeah.
The rest are just in there to be able to keep going.
I mean, because the
And we
lasting
know that.
relationships, there's not that many of them.
No, I think we've had about 5 that are still together over the 11 seasons.
Yeah.
How many?
11. Yeah, I know. I auditioned for this show in 2014.
Wow.
I got an email that came in saying, "Do you want to audition for this crazy show where we match strangers?" And I thought, well, it's not going to go very far because it was a very unusual concept. And then it exploded.
Yeah, good call.
I tell you what, you always talk about it being an experiment, right? That's the word used before. And I always wondered about... try not to have a go at it here, but your own personal credibility, because that's a field that you worked in. And then we watch you on this show putting together, well, so-called putting together. I know that's not a new, but putting together these people, you're like, oh, come on. Who would go for you
You're
for
not
advice,
put
John?
together. You're not put together for love. You're put together for television drama.
So early in the morning.
I know. Bam, bam, bam.
Shots fired.
I'm sure you'd be... I'm sure those questions come at you at any stage.
Yeah. And look, over the years, you really just have to, like you guys, you've got to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
Because you're in the public eye and people are, firing back at you all the time. And even the participants, one of the things about our show is that they come at me, and it's quite compelling to watch people, trying to, have a go at you. I know all the background around relationships. I've worked in that field for nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
So when I'm on the show, I just do what I do. I don't really think about it.
And you're no longer practicing
No.
so you're not taking private clients, so
all
that's
the
not
time
impacted.
But I'm upskilling. I'm always going to workshops and conferences and things like that to stay across everything that's going on. Do people find me credible? Some do and some don't.
Yeah,
And
but in life, that's anyone.
Yeah,
with anyone, really.
So this year there is a broader demographic of couples, I've noticed. Was that a conscious thing to sort of get more than just your 28-year-olds?
Yeah, so we've got our oldest ever participant, 62-year-old guy in the mix that we've never had.
Did you hook him up with a 25-year-old or what?
You know me well.
That would have been awesome.
They'll get the least airtime because
that's
they're
right,
not young and
that's right.
attractive.
You won't be seeing them much.
Could you imagine the 25-year-olds, walking down the aisle and the 60-year-old turns around?
Yeah,
Like it's,
It's a great idea. Anyway, note that down.
Maybe a different show. But he definitely, and there's a couple of other older couples in there, they definitely bring a mix that we haven't seen before because they go at the younger guys.
Yes.
We have a same-sex couple in the mix as well.
Yep.
And I think also this year there's just this, that there's a couple of key players that constantly clash, and Dirty Laundry gets aired all the time, and there's this issue of what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, and boundary crossing, and that runs right the way through the series.
Did you have fun last night?
Oh, great fun.
There was a big dinner. It was a launch.
Yeah. We watched the first episode.
Yep.
And it's great for me because I'm watching people while I'm watching.
Oh, of course,
yeah.
I mean, is that awkward when they're watching you on TV, like in front of you?
Well, the screen was big, and I can't say I looked great. But I'm still not used to it when it's that big.
Yeah,
and you see
but
your
lovely
face up
food
there.
and stuff,
So
yeah.
Did you notice an incident last night involving yourself?
And boundaries.
We'd like to invite to our show our boss.
This is our boss, Dave
David
McClung.
Do you remember David from last night?
He was sitting next to you, was that
Well,
right?
we were talking about things we shouldn't be talking about.
No, we're not going to talk about that right now. No, it's not about what we're
Dave?
talking about. It's not what we're talking about. It's whether one relationship expert has become too big for his britches.
Dave, why don't you tell everybody
John
what
was so
happened?
nice, but you ate my bread.
Tell me more. What do you mean, ate your bread, Dave?
I don't want to say anything. So
You know what did you do? But that's what I'm talking about. Boundary crossing.
That's right.
You know.
Someone
Yes.
actually
This is why
heard
we're
the
taking you to
rumor.
task.
Someone actually heard the rumor that you ate Dave's bread, and they walked over from the other side of the table to bring Dave their bread.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bad look, but I thought he could cope with it.
You were teaching him a lesson in resilience.
I mean, let's be honest, he's fragile.
He's very fragile. Yeah. Note taken, John. Note taken.
I'm just saying.
Well, John is at the top of his game. Everyone should be
that's
offering
right.
him their bread.
Yeah, Dave, come on.
It was. I'll tell you what, though, it was a great night, and
Yeah, well, you were fully carved up.
Dave went by McDonald's on the way home.
It's like it was calling to me the whole night. This piece of bread. Hell with it, I'm going for it.
Yeah, he should have eaten it earlier, shouldn't he? That's on him. That's on him.
Well, I have to say, the influence that MAFS have, not only in society on social media, but the influence it has on other shows. Like, for example, Big Brother just recently tried to turn Big Brother into MAFS, and it failed dismally.
Yeah.
But the influence this show has on all other reality shows is insane and slightly infuriating, to be honest, because everyone's trying to copy something. It's
And also
insane.
the fact that it's so successful overseas, and that's what overseas people think all Australians are like.
I know. It is bizarre, and I think many people have tried to pick it apart
have.
Yes.
to figure out what is the secret sauce, and I don't think anyone...
It's booze is the answer.
Casting and booze.
That's a part of it. You know, but I think no one really knows the exact reason why it's become so popular around the world.
Because it's a car crash.
I like to think it's the love.
Okay.
All right, John's delusional, everybody. Married at First Sight is back Monday, January 29, 7:30 on Channel 9. Thank you so much for coming in, John
fantastic.
Aiken. It's always
What
a
a start
pleasure
to
to
the
see
morning.
you.
Brilliant. Loved it, guys.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.